Hello, everyone. Welcome to Barca News. It is January 24th, 2024, and Athletic Club de Bilbao just eliminated Barcelona out of the Copa del Rey with a 4-2 scores in San Mamés in the quarterfinals of the Cup. This is the post-match live analysis. We have a lot to discuss, so let's begin. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the channel. My name is Mo, and this is the post-match live analysis, which are the live streams where we analyze Barcelona matches as soon as they end. I know I'm starting this 2 hours or an hour and a half after the match ended. I apologize. I was really busy. I couldn't hop on the camera immediately. But nonetheless, here I am and ready to discuss today's match. Now, by the way, today is usually, of course, a Barca News podcast, which starts at 7:30 p.m. I'm still gonna do the podcast, but I will be doing it as soon as this match review ends. So make sure to stick around so you can watch the podcast where I will be bringing you Barcelona news. A lot of interesting news in that podcast, so make sure you stick around. And having said that, of course, I will be making this match analysis a little bit shorter than usual. It's usually 30 minutes. Maybe I'll do 15, 20 minutes tops just so I can start the podcast immediately right after. Now, having said that, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment, and let's start with the match analysis because Athletic Club de Bilbao just eliminated Barcelona out of the Copa del Rey 4-2 in what was yet again a very pathetic performance by the team. Now, at this point, I'm not mad, I'm not angry, I'm not frustrated. To be honest, I saw it coming. We knew that Athletic Club was a strong team, high defensive line who puts a lot of pressure. We've seen Barcelona struggle to get out of pressure all this season. So I really did not expect much. I was surprised actually by the 2 goals Barcelona had, both individuality. So I guess it's not that much of a surprise that Barcelona scored, but not a surprise there. Again, not angry, not mad, expected results. Because this team has been playing horribly this entire season. And the biggest problem with the team is that as soon as we cross the midfield, there's absolutely no idea what to do with the ball. This team has no idea how to formulate an attack. This team has absolutely no attacking structure. This team has absolutely no plays that they can execute. Again, I know I've said it a million times, no mechanisms in place, no kind of strategies, nothing whatsoever. As soon as the team crosses the midfield, all they do, look at each other, pass the ball around. I don't know what to do. Who do I give it to? Plenty of open spaces that nobody occupies, plenty of open corridors that nobody makes a run to. This team is completely clueless. This team has no idea how to play football. This team has no strategy. This team has no identity. This team is completely clueless. And the person to blame for that is no other than Xavi Hernandez. Now, a lot of people got mad at me when Barcelona got eliminated from the Spanish Super Cup because I criticized Xavi and everybody was like, oh my God, blah, blah, it's the player's fault. It's, I don't know, it's Lewandowski's fault, it's Iñaki Peña's fault. People came up with a million excuses. People got so mad at me saying that somehow I was being unfair, that just because one terrible match. But this is not just one terrible match, ladies and gentlemen. Open your eyes, wake up, stop getting blinded by the legendary status of Xavi. Nobody's going to take that away from him. Xavi will forever be one of the biggest legends in the history of Barcelona. He will be our best midfielder. He won us everything. He won us a sextuple. He won us a treble. We will be forever grateful for him, and he will be one of the greatest players to ever wear and don the Blaugrana jersey. But nonetheless, we must separate Xavi the player from Xavi the coach, because Xavi as a coach is not it. And I was one of the biggest defenders of Xabi. I defended him all the way up to, I think it was up till November or maybe December. So about a month or 2 months ago, people kept saying Xabi out, Xabi out. I kept saying, no, we need to give him time. Projects take time. Projects go up and down. But 2 years in, and I see absolutely no improvements. The team has actually gotten worse. There's absolutely no identity being developed. There's no ideas. And this team just keeps barely scraping by when we do win. Today we didn't. And when we do win, it's by individualities from players, the same way we won the last match in the Copa del Rey. So I've said it before and I'll say it again. Xabi is not the coach. I'm sorry, but there is no more excuses. And I don't want to hear that, oh, well, it's because Xabi didn't get the signings that he wants. Oh, it's because this player. Oh, because it's that player. Xabi has no idea how to manage this team. Are some of the players at fault? Yes, absolutely. A lot of players need to go on the team. But the fact that the team has absolutely no idea how to formulate an attack, the fact that the team has no idea how to have no structure, no identity, that's the coach's job. The coach's job is to implement an identity and to implement a system of play, to create this structure for the players where each player knows exactly what to do, each player knows their role, and each player functions within that structure. But there is no structure. There's nothing, guys. There's absolutely nothing. There's 11 players on the field looking at each other with no idea what to do, passing the ball back and forth because, again, they have no idea what to do. And this is simply the coach's fault. I don't know how else to explain this. I don't know how else to get this message to you, but you need to get it through your head by now that this is simply a result of mediocre coaching. Simple as that. Xabi is a good transitional coach, but he is not a coach that knows how to build a project. Maybe if the team was already settled and knew how to play and have been playing together for a while, maybe Xabi could take over the reins and keep the ship going. But as far as taking a project from scratch, new players, young players, new signings, and put them all together and have them play under an identity, under a system, this is not it. He is not it. I'm sorry, guys, but there's no more excuses. And again, this is not me being mad, because I love when people start saying that, oh, you're just ranting, you're just being emotional, you're just being angry, you're just mad. I'm not. Pretty chill. I saw this happening. I knew it was going to happen. It happened. Again, not angry. I expected it. And honestly, if you think I'm just ranting or being irrational or not being analytical, that tells me that what I'm saying is true. Because when people can no longer defend their position, when people no longer can debate your position, and they just result to insults like, oh, you're being irrational, that means you are out of arguments. And that's exactly what it is. The Xabi defenders are out of arguments. And there's nothing else to say but that Xabi Hernandez needs to leave. Not midway through the season, because I've said it before, I'm not a fan of changing coaches midway through the season. We don't need another transitional coach. We need a legitimate coach that we actually are sure that he can take over. So I'm more of a fan of waiting until the end of the season. But this is the reality. I don't think we're going to win anything. And this is the problem with constantly saying, this is something that Xabi continued to say, oh, we're alive in all competitions. But this is the problem when you say that. Of course, you're alive in all competitions. All teams are alive in all competitions when the season starts. Even Almeria was alive in all competitions when the season started. That doesn't mean anything. Because just 2 weeks ago, Xabi said, we're alive in all the competitions. Then it was like, well, we're alive in 3 competitions because we lost the Spanish Super Cup. Now we're alive in 2. And if you seriously think that we have a shot in a Champions League, I'm sorry, but I don't see us beating Napoli. And even if somehow by some miracle we beat Napoli, whoever we get in the quarterfinal is for sure eliminating us. As far as La Liga, we are 7 points behind second place, 8 points behind first one. I don't see us catching up. Yeah, we do have some chances to do so. We have another match against Real Madrid where we can technically take 3 points away from them. We have a match against Girona where we can technically take 3 points away from them. But both teams have already humiliated us this season. Why is the other leg going to be any different? I don't know. But ladies and gentlemen, this team is done. There is nothing, no ideas there, no strategies there. There's nothing to see. There's nothing to grow on. These are just 11 players on a field with no idea what to do because their coach has no idea what to do. And without a coach to tell you what to do, you're simply just not going to flourish. Anyways, let's head back to the chats, or let's start with the chat section. Let's do a few more comments. Then I want to say a few more things about a certain players. And then we will end it. Like I said, I want to keep it short just because we do have the podcast as soon as this live stream ends. A lot of news. So yeah, let's see. Let's see. Ralph says the whole of Barca squad stink. I disagree. Again, it's not a problem of the squad. It's the problem of who is in charge of them. If you look at Girona, they have a budget of 65 million euros. We have a budget, or we had a budget when the season started of, I think it was 600 or 700 million euros. That's 10 times more. We paid for Rafinha alone more than the entire budget of Girona. So what we paid for Rafinha is what Girona have to pay for 26 players. They have a bunch of rejects. They have a bunch of loaned players. They have a bunch of nobodies. And yet they're first in La Liga. Sure, they did get eliminated today against Mallorca, but they completely embarrassed us in La Liga. So it's not a matter of the squad. Sure, having good players helps. But when you have a coach like Xabi, it doesn't matter who you have. You can have Haaland. We're still going to suck. If Xabi was Girona's coach, I bet money that Girona right now would be fighting for relegation. With Xabi saying in the press conferences, well, I don't have the signings that I need. Oh, well, we don't have the money to sign players. And if Mitchell was Barcelona's coach, then we truly would be alive in all competitions and actually competing for those competitions, not just alive because we haven't been eliminated yet. And an emphasis on yet, because we saw what happened in the Spanish Super Cup. We saw what happened today. I don't have much hopes for the Champions League or La Liga. So, sure, we can blame the squad, but until we actually acknowledge the real problem, which is Xavi Hernandez, then we're not going to go anywhere. And yes, there are players who need to go on the squad. Don't get me wrong. I'm not putting the full blame on Xavi, but he takes the biggest part. Okay, let's see what else. Emmanuel says, my people, same not happen again. What is going on with our team? Now we win, we lose. The same thing's been happening all season. We don't have any structure. We don't have any identity. We don't have any strategies. We don't have anything. Again, 11 players, individual players on the field trying to figure out what to do because their coach doesn't know what to do. And whenever we win we scrape by and we depend on individualities because we have no collective play. And it's the coach's job to instill that collective play, but yet people still want to find excuses. Oh, well, Xavi didn't get his signings. Oh, well, Lewandowski's not finding the back of the net. Oh, well, I don't know, Sergio Roberto's too slow. All those things are true, but at the end of the day, whose job is it to instill a system of play? Whose job is it to create an identity for the team? Whose job is to structure and organize the team? It's Xabi, not the players. The players are there just to follow orders and play within the system that's created for them. But if there's no system, this is not 30, 40 years ago. Modern football is completely different now. Back in the day, yeah, you can throw in 11 talented players on the field and just let them do whatever and you can win. But modern football requires more than that. Requires structure, requires a system of play, requires an identity for those players to play within. You can't just depend on the players' individualities. That no longer is the case. Because if that was the case, PSG would be winning trebles every year, right? Because they sign the best players, they spend the most money, but they're not winning anything. Why? Because talent and skilled players is not enough. you also need a good coach to create a structure for these players to flourish in, a system for these players where they know what to do and they can do their job. It's just like a company, right? When you create a business, you create different roles, and then you hire those people for those roles, and you train those people for those roles, and then those people, your employees, do those roles, and your business works. You don't just start a business and tell people, come work for me, now do whatever you guys want, and then be like, why is my business not making any money? Well, because you haven't created any roles for these employees. They're just hanging out. And it's the same thing. But again, the shabby apologists will find some kind of excuse. And honestly, if you want to live in denial, that's up to you. But the truth is staring you right in the face. Whenever you want to accept it, please do. Barca says, Peña can't save a Microsoft document. Peña, if it wasn't for Iñaki Peña, the match would have probably ended 6, maybe 7-2. So to blame it on Peña, I don't know what to tell you, my friend. I think you either watch a different match or you just don't want to do a more deep dive in your analysis. So it's just easier to throw names out there and just blame it on Peña. All right, let's see. What else? Oh, McBarsa with the donation. Thank you, my friend. Thank you for your donation, and thank you for being in the live stream. Let's see. Josep says, no one checks in, no one makes runs, no one takes on players, no one shoots, no one make combination. It's a complete mess. 100%. Because, again, there's no system of play. Players do not know what to do. Players do not know when to make the runs. Players do not know when to occupy the empty spaces because there's no structure in place. And the only person in charge of that structure is Xavi. So you can blame the players, you can blame Iñaki Peña, you can blame whoever you want, but until you accept the fact that Xavi Hernandez is failing this team, you're going to continue looking for excuses and you're going to continue looking for people to put the blame on. And eventually you're going to run out of all of those. So the sooner you can accept the reality, the sooner, the better it will be for you. Anyways, let's talk about a few more things because you know what? I do want to focus on the positives. I know it's hard to focus on the positives. We just got scored on 4 goals. Our defense is as bland as Jello. Our attack has no idea what to do. Our coach is completely clueless. But despite this entire mess, despite being eliminated out of the Copa del Rey, I do want to focus on some positive things, starting with, ladies and gentlemen, Lamine Yamal. This guy. Let's not forget he is 16 years old. And the goal that he scored was Messi-like. The way he takes the ball on the wing, cuts in, continues dribble, and puts the ball right in the corner. That was a clinical shot. When this guy grows up, he is going to be absolutely amazing. He already is, but he's only going to keep getting better and better. Remember, players keep getting improvement until they're 25, 26. That's when they hit their prime. This guy is 16, and if he's playing at this level at 16 years old, and he still has 10 more years of improvement, can you imagine what he's going to look like when he hits his prime? I mean, absolutely amazing. Yes, he missed 2 clear shots. And before, because there are some toxic fans out there, before fans start saying, oh, let's sell him, he sucks, he's garbage. Again, let's not forget he is 68 years old. Let's not forget he is still learning, he's still growing, he's still developing. And those kind of mistakes young players will make. Simple as that. Some things you can only learn through experience. Some things you cannot learn in the classroom. You can spend hours and hours analyzing videos, analyzing systems of play, whatever. You can spend hours and hours in the gym. You can spend hours and hours on the training field. But some things you can only learn through experience. This guy lacks experience. That's why he made those mistakes. He will make more mistakes in the future. It's part of growth. It's part of development. But my God, this guy is absolutely brilliant. And there's a reason why all his coaches in La Masia, who have trained him all the way since he was a little kid, they have all said that they haven't seen talent like this since Lionel Messi. And these are the same coaches that trained Lionel Messi, so they would know. And I honestly and truly believe it, because after today's goal, whew, this guy's future is very, very bright. And we're very, very lucky to have him on our team. More positive things, because Kuwarsi, oh my God, another masterclass by Pau Kuwarsi, another 16-year-old, or I think he just turned 17 a few days ago. He could be still 16. I can't remember if it was his birthday, or I know Margiu just had a birthday, so he just became 18. But Kuwarsi, another masterclass. This guy is so mature for his age. He's 16 or 17 years old, and he defends like he has been playing in first division for years and years. I mean, the leadership skills that he has, constantly giving orders to his teammates, telling his teammates where to stand. He's 16 years old. This is his second game with the first team. His teammates should be telling him where to stand, but instead he is so mature. He is so years and years ahead of his age that he's telling his teammates where to position himself. The way he moves with the ball forward. I mean, if you see Christensen, for example, when he gets the ball, he kind of like controls the ball, stops it, looks around, and then makes a forward pass. Kuwarsi does not need that. He gets the ball immediately, he shoots the pass, because he has eyes everywhere. He knows exactly where his teammates are. As soon as he gets the ball, he fires it to his teammate. He doesn't need to stop the ball. He doesn't need to put his head up. He doesn't need to look around. He is just quick. And that's just him assisting the attack. That's not even talk about his defense, because his defense is on another level. Again, 16 or 17 years old, absolute masterclass by Kuwarsi. And I have to say that La Masia is still alive and well. La Masia disappeared for a long time under Bartomeu, because he was more in favor of spending hundreds of millions of euros on flops, ignoring La Masia and causing all our talent from Masia to leave, because they were looking, okay, they're obviously not going to make space for me because they keep signing these players. But La Masia is back. It has produced Gabi. It has produced Araujo. It has produced Balde. Now we have Kuwarsi, Lamine Yamal, and of course, Hector Fort. Another masterclass by Hector Fort. And honestly, the way I'm seeing these defenders coming and these players coming out of La Masia, I'm now not even that mad if we sell Christensen. I know when the news first broke that we were going to sell Christensen, we were all saying, what is Barcelona thinking? Christensen had a phenomenal season last season. But honestly, looking at these kids, looking at Kuwarsi, looking at Hector Fort, we still have Alex Baye on loan who's coming back. And we still have Mika Faye who's still adapting. So why not? Sell Christensen, sell Eric Garcia. I mean, let these kids play. The only three players who you can say saved face today with the three youngsters. Maybe Margiu, because he had a few minutes, but it wasn't really enough to say anything about his performance. But the only players who actually played well were the kids, 16 and 17-year-olds. Let them play. Anyways, let's get back to the comment section, and then we'll say a few things, and then again, I'll end it because I do have to do the podcast. Again, lots of excited news in the podcast. You know, maybe we'll put a spin on this day, but let's see. Okay, Prince says, hello, Mo. My name is Prince Cruz Doema from Nova Scotia, Canada. Shabby need to go, brother. Wow, from Nova Scotia. I hope you're staying warm, my friend. But thank you for your comment. And yes, I do agree. Let's see. Foodie Crowd says the defensive coach needs to get sacked too. Honest, coaches now come in groups, I guess. So like when you hire a coach, they bring in their whole staff. So, you know, if Shabby leaves, everybody would leave. And regarding that, I do want to say this. One of Shabby's mistakes was surrounding himself with highly inexperienced people, because his staff is just as inexperienced as him. And if you're still not at the level of coaching a big team like Barcelona, because obviously he has the knowledge and the know-how, right? He is the best midfielder in the history of Barcelona, probably one of the best midfielders in the history of football, period. So he obviously has the knowledge and the know-how of how to play football, but not only that, how to play Barcelona football because he spent his whole career in Barcelona. So he obviously knows the know-how. What he doesn't have is how to teach that, right? The coaching skills. So if you have the know-how and the genius, because Xavi is a genius. When we watched him play, he was a fucking genius. If you have all that knowledge, all that genius, all that football intelligence in your brain, but you don't have the skills to teach that to other people, then surround yourself by people who do, by people who know how to teach it. That way you can express to your staff what you want them to teach because you have the know-how, you have the knowledge, you have the genius and the intelligence, and then let your staff teach your vision to the players. But instead, he surrounded himself by inexperienced people, and that is only making things worse. So I think that's another big mistake that Xavi did, not surrounding himself with experienced staff, and I think he's paying for it. Okay, let's see. What else? Chloe says, Mo, we lost, and people are here saying we are with you, Xavi. The hell is that? I don't know. Like I said, I think a lot of people, the problem is people are just so enamored by Xavi, the legend, the player, which I am too. Again, I think one of the best, if not the best midfielder to ever play the game. But we have to separate Xavi, the player, from Xavi, the coach. And just because Xavi was great as a player doesn't mean he's great as a coach, because he's not. And the other way is true as well. Just because Xavi is crappy as a coach, we shouldn't forget what he did as a player, because what he did with as a player was absolute magic with the ball. So we can't forget that either. But we have to separate the two. Xavi the coach from Xavi the player are two different people, and we cannot let Xavi the player blind us from the fact that Xavi the coach is not cutting it. Let's see. DJ says, worker. Just kidding. He said, we tried to buy success with all the money we spent. We should have just taken the long road and built from La Masia. I mean, you cannot build from La Masia if you don't have someone who knows how to build it, right? You can buy bricks, you can buy cement, you can buy wood, you can buy nails. But if you don't have an actual builder who knows how to put that thing together and turn it into a house, then you don't have a project. And that's what we have here, right? We tried. We could have promoted from La Masia. We could have signed players. We could have done everything. But without a proper coach that knows how to build the project, then it's all senseless anyway. So I do agree we do have to build from La Masia. Historically speaking, Barcelona have done the best when they have promoted players from La Masia. But that's because we had coaches who knew what to do with that talent. And right now we don't. All right, more comments. Soccer Sense says, hello, Mo. I keep telling you, if Xavi is still a coach of our club 1 million years, Barcelona can't win anything in the world. I agree, my friend. I agree. And Lewis says, we keep hearing from Xavi that we need a CDM, but why don't we change the system based on what we do have, like a double pivot, for example? Good managers can work with what they have and adjust. Because he has no idea what he's doing as a coach. That is why. Okay, real quick. I want to say one more thing. And I know I tried to keep it positive, and despite being eliminated, and despite being scored on 4 goals, and despite showing how weak we are offensively and defensively, I did try to put a positive spin by saying we have a bright future with our La Masia players, Covarci, Gu, Hector Fort, Lamine Yamal, but I have to talk about this guy. And the reason why I have to talk about him because right now they're talking about that Barcelona are working to sign him. And I don't know why. Right now we're lucky because he's on loan. And when you get a player on loan and he fails, you're in good position because at the end of the season, you tell him, thank you for your services. Have a good night or good day. It's when you sign a player when you're in trouble because now you spend all this money on the player and now he's not doing well. And it's like, crap, what do I do? So right now we're in a good position because Joao Felix is on loan, but we want to get into a bad position by signing him. What exactly has Joao Felix done all this season I mean, he gives us flashes of brilliance here and there, maybe 5 minutes, and then he ghosts for 10 matches, then another nice goal, then another 10 matches where he ghosts. So what exactly are Barcelona thinking when they're talking about signing Joao Felix? Because I don't see it. Maybe you guys do. And if you do, please let me know in the chat section. But I don't see it. Also, what is up with the substitutions? You're telling me Sergi Roberto over Fermin Lopez in extra time? That's who you really think is going to save the match? Don't get me wrong, I have nothing against Sergio Roberto. He's given us some great years, but he is way past his prime. He's a good player to maybe rotate against weak opponents. If you want to give someone rest, maybe he's a player you bring in when you've won a match by several goals, so you can rest your starters. But you bring him in extra time when your team is losing. Is that the smartest thing to do? When you could have brought Fermin Lopez, who has always shown us his hunger and his desire to succeed. Also, why did we spend 30 million euros plus 30 in variables on Vitor Roque, and you're going to have Ferran Torres play 140 minutes? Now, I get it. Vitor Roque is not fit yet to play 90 minutes. He came from a 3-month injury. He's not in form. But bring him in the extra halves. I don't know. Just my opinion. Anyways, that's all I have to say about the match. Again, not surprised by the result. This team lacks any kind of ideas on how to play. This team has no strategy, no structure, no identity, no system of play. This team does not play football. This is just 11 guys passing the ball around because they are being led by a coach who has no idea what he's doing as a coach. And I'm sorry, but this was probably the only trophy that was most likely that we could win, and we just got knocked out. And I don't see us doing anything else. We do have a donation. Yay! Babies come back. Why the name, man? Shout out to you, Mo. You're speaking the truth. Thank you, my friend. I'm just going to call you. No, see, I was going to say I'm just going to call you baby, because if I call you baby's comeback, then I feel like I'm insulting you. I don't want to insult you when you just donated the money. But then if I just call you baby, that's just weird. But anyways, thank you for the donation, and thank you for your comment, my friend. Let's do. I want to see how many hate comments I get, by the way, because every time I say something bad about Xabi, oh my God, it's like it's like hell just breaks loose on earth, and it's like everybody's like, oh my God. Anyways, Lamine says, poor tactical coach. Pedri was shocking. 6 minutes, Fermin should come in rather than Roberto. Ferran was doom, and he played 120 minutes. Louis worse. Kunde shocking. Removing Lamine was the worst mistake. I mean, I get it why he removed Lamine. He is still 16. We've seen that these, young players are still not physically developed enough to play full 90 minutes. We saw it with Cubarsí. Was it the Real Betis match where Cubarsí started or came in? And at the 70th minute, he was already exhausted, and he had to be subbed out, right? Because these players are not fully developed yet to where they can play 90 minutes at that level. They can play 90 minutes in third division, that's fine. But from third division to first division is completely a whole nother world. It's a lot faster. It's more intense. You have to run more. You have to run faster. You have to exert yourself a lot more. And these players are just not ready. So I get why he took out Lamine. I don't get the other substitutions. I didn't understand Sergi over Fermin. I didn't understand why Vitor Roque didn't come in for a single minute. I didn't understand anything, honestly. We have a completely clueless team, coach, and a team that just doesn't know what to do. And it's the fault of the coach. It's no one else to blame. And if you cannot accept that, then that's your personal problem. Anyways, that is it, guys. Again, I will start the podcast. I want to say maybe in 5-10 minutes. I have to prepare, the title and the thumbnail and the slides and blah blah blah, everything that goes into preparing a live stream. But thank you guys for tuning in. I will see you in 5 or 10 minutes on the podcast. A lot of interesting news. So I will see you there. Anyways, as always, regardless of how our team does, Visca Barça.